In this video, I will show you how to add rational expressions that do not have a common denominator. So we're going to add 5x over x plus 3 plus 28 over x minus 3 minus 90 over x squared minus 9. Now, clearly these denominators are different, so we have to find the least common denominator, and that is the least number of factors that will include all of these denominators. So you need to factor this denominator first, and that's the difference of squares. A squared minus b squared is a plus b, a minus b. So this time it's x plus 3, x minus 3. And now we're going to list our LCD as every factor that you see. So I see an x plus 3 and I see an x minus 3. That includes all the factors of the first denominator, all the factors of the second denominator, and all the factors of the third denominator. So I don't need any more factors. So that's going to be my LCD, and I'm going to go ahead and write that in my answer. Now, if I have changed this denominator in any way, I have to change the numerator. So the first denominator is x plus 3, and look, I have an x minus 3 now, so I need to put an x minus 3 in the bottom and in the top of this first fraction. The second fraction only had an x minus 3, so I've included an additional x plus 3 factor. So I'm going to put an x plus 3 in that numerator. And this last denominator has not changed. It was already x plus 3, x minus 3, so I don't need to do anything to the numerator since I didn't change that denominator. Now all I need to do is combine my numerators and write them over this LCD. So I've got a 5x and an x minus 3, a plus 28 and an x plus 3, and a minus 90. So I'm going to have to distribute in both of these and then combine like terms. So if I distribute, I get 5x squared minus 15x, that's if I distribute this 5x, plus 28x plus, now I need to do 28 times 3, that's going to be 84, and then minus 90. And all of that is still over my LCD, x plus 3, x minus 3. Now I need to clean up my numerator by combining like terms. 5x squared. I've got a minus 15 and a plus 28. That's going to be a plus 13x. And a plus 84 and a minus 90 is a minus 6 over x plus 3, x minus 3. Now, in addition to combining by getting common denominator, I need to write this in simplest form. So that means I need to factor the numerator. The bottom is already factored. I need to factor that numerator and see if I have any common factors in the denominator with the numerator that will reduce. So I'm going to go up here in the corner and create a little bit of room to do the factoring of 5x squared plus 13x minus 6. So I need to factor 5x squared plus 13x minus 6. Now this is a trinomial. There is no common factor, so I need to multiply AC and get negative 30, and I'm looking for the factors of negative 30 that will give me 13. So I'm going to list those, negative 1 and 30. Well, that's not going to give me a 13. A negative 2 and 15, and that's the pair I need because negative 2 plus 15 is 13. So this is going to be 5x squared minus 2x plus 15x minus 6. So this tells me how to split apart my middle term 13x so that I can now group. So if I group these first two, I can take out an x, and I'll get a 5x plus 3. And if I group these two, I need to bring my sign over and then take out a 3, and I'll get a 5x. I see a mistake I made. Let me fix that. That should be a 5x minus 3. If I take an x out here, that should be a minus 3. And then if I take a 3 out, that'll be 5x minus 3. And the reason I caught my mistake is I know these are going to match. If I do this part right, these will always match. Okay? So I've got an x plus 3 and an x minus 3. And now when I pull out my common factor, 5x minus 3, left over is the x and the 3. So x plus 3. That's over x plus 3, x minus 3, and those factors will divide out and leave me with 5x minus 3 over x minus 3. Now be careful, you can't reduce this because in order to reduce, the factors have to be just alike, and this one has a 5x and this is just an x, so that's the final answer. When you add that, you get 5x minus 3 over x minus 3.